Hi, welcome to In the Workshop. I'm David. So I've just got home from work and tonight we're going to start the Nutcracker project. So join me in a second.
We're going through this whole identity crisis.
So here's the Nutcracker I'm going to try and make. So I've drawn sizes, so I've done this to scale. But this arm will not be straight like that. This arm will be on this side and there'll be a bent arm on this side. But I just wanted the sizes, that's all. So yeah, I've drawn all this to scale. Sorry about all the footprints. This is Tommy making mucky marks as soon as I started. He was jumping all over it. I think what I'll cut first is cut these bits that are glued together for the turning. So I'll just rough cut them into blocks. I've made up this jig, so hopefully when I've got these cut square, I can sit these on there and I'll be able to take the corners off. But you'll be able to see that in a bit anyway. The same jig I'll be able to use for cutting the dowels as well. It'll hold them still so they don't spin or anything. So as you see, I'm just using a chop saw to chop these off at length. And that's okay at that. They're nice and flat. So I'm just marking corner to corner while I can before I cut these corners off on the bandsaw. Just to find the centres ready for the lathe. So here's my jig. Nice and simple. So these are at 45-degree angle, and that'll hold my pieces of wood at 45 degrees, meaning I can chop off these corners so there's less that I have to take off when I'm wood turning. So as you can see here, that's about the maximum size that I can cut on there. I could have left this piece, this is just an offcut, like that. If that had carried on, there'd be more support on there. But so this is about the biggest size I can cut on this jig. And that's about 88mm or so. And then obviously smaller, because then it would just sit more inside there. I think what I want is a little bit of a taper on there. So what I need to do is stick this on the sander, sand that to make sure it's really flat, and then just sand a little bit off there before I chop them off on the bandsaw. On here I'll be doing the same with that. We've got all our blanks for the wood turning, and I've got all these dowels cut, so there's still the feet to sort out at the end and the peak that's between the hat and the head. So this is the boot part going up to the top of the boot, then the leg carried on, and then the hands with the cuffs, and then the arms going up and the shoulders. These will all be dowelled together, so they will all have a dowel in there and all dowelled. So just while I remember, I need to cut a 45-degree piece out of the arm, so one of the arms is bent. Cut that, and then a quick sand on the sander, and that's a nice tight joint to go together there. So of course I could have wood turned the legs all in one piece, and I could have wood turned the arms, but I just wanted to try it like this. I think it'll be okay. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. So for you, I'll be back in just a second. Wow, pussycat, you're a bit dusty. Time to do some turning. So we're going to get this little draper lathe out. So we've already marked the centres of these pieces of wood before we bandsaw these pieces off. So on this I want 78mm around, or around 78mm in the middle, because this is the head. I'll just be taking the ends off a bit just to make it a bit more rounded. What I'm doing here is using a smaller gouge just to take some out where the belt is, you know, where the sort of, where it goes in at the hips. Just finished the turning, so I've just done this hat. So what I've got there is a taper on it, and I've just rounded over the top a little bit. So that's for here. I've got the body to shape. And now this head, I've just got to chop a bit down on it because it's a bit too long. So I need to just take a bit off there, and then they'll be okay and we can move on to the next stage. I like the wood turning, but what I don't like is getting all this man glitter over me. So all the shavings from the wood turning's on the fire, so nothing gets wasted or gets to heat the workshop. So we've got the body there, the head that I've chopped 10mm off to make the right size, and the hat, but we need a peak in between there. So what I found was in my offcuts bag, so from school I work as a D&T technician, design and technology technician at school, and like all the offcuts I bring home, you know, all the little bits for burning, so I burn them on my workshop fire. I found this offcut. This is gelaton, and that's the end of a board, you know, a plank. So I've got this bit, and I think we'll be able to use that for the peak. I'll be able to rip it down a bit thinner on the bandsaw and we can cut it to shape. So I want that about 10mm thick. So I'm just figuring a shape for the peak. So we've now got a peak. So we've put a slant on that, and that should do the job. Lovely. So the next bit we're doing is trying to do the cutout on the body here, up the top. It's for the mechanism. You have a mechanism at the back of it that you lift to put your nuts in there to crack them. The wife don't want to use it for cracking nuts, but I thought I better put the mechanism in. It'd be cheating if I didn't. This bit of oak is what I'm going to use for the lever at the back, so it's just an old piece that's come from something. It's got varnish on both sides, but what I've done is I've cut out some slots with a bandsaw in there and put some beech running the other way so that it strengthens that, because if we cut that at there, all the strength, any strain that you put on the lever will be trying to snap this end off. So that makes it, you know, like plywood. So it's got some wood grain going the other way to make it stronger. So hopefully that won't break. Big walnuts probably won't fit between that gap, but we're not going to be using it for cracking nuts anyway. Don't know if you can hear it. It started raining outside. Can hear it on the roof. I've got to figure out how I'm going to cut this out. I think I might try the bandsaw for cutting down there, and then probably a coping saw or something to chop that out. So I've got to get rid of this bit and then take some more out down the back there. So what I'm doing is just going to follow along the fence. I'm going in 65mm, and yeah, just letting that rest up against there to help it a bit. So I'll just be doing it like that, and then down the other side. Of course, this is the lazy way of cutting down there, because I could just use a saw or a Japanese pull saw or something. I think I might need to do that on this back piece. So we've got that piece cut out, but now we need to carry on down the back all the way. So we'll give it a bit of depth, probably about to there. So that's probably going in at the centre there. Don't know what, 15 mil. Yeah, 15 mil. Sorry guys, I had to put you on charge. So while you're on charge, what I did was carry on cutting along there and then chiseled it out. So we've got that trench all the way along there now. And this is the mechanism, the lever that I've made. So the thing with the lever, you really have to make this and then just try and make something up to suit. So like I said, I'd put them strengthening pieces in there. And that's from doing research online, you know, looking at other stuff. I also put some little teeth on there just for a bit of grip, to grip the nut if anybody ever did try and use it. So what I've done is use that piece, and you can just shape it to whatever you like. But what I did do, I've put a line just there. I don't know if this is going to work. I just gently hold that there and make sure the weight will pull the lever down so it'll shut the mouth up. Else might give it a bit of a gormless look with his mouth open all the time if his mouth's too heavy here and that holds down. So now what I've got to do is just drill this now. I've got to drill through this body and through this to make the hinge part of it, where it hinges. But yeah, it's going to be trial and error with that. So the back corner's knocked off so that when it hinges, it doesn't hit the corner there into the bottom of the head. So you need to get rid of that corner. And then I've just made that dip a bit, thinking that'll help, but we'll see. Well, probably not if I don't have any nuts. Right, let's get this drilled. Right, I've got the position now for that hole. So we've got them holes through, and then what you do is get a nail, and a nail's going to go through there, and I'm going to cut the ends off, and I'm going to super glue the ends of the nail into that wood. So that drops down nicely. What I can see is that the front of this mechanism is set back a bit from these front edges. So I might just take them back a little bit. So drilling 6mm holes in all the pieces, going to fit together now. So I've just put these dowel markers in. You just drill the hole, push them in, and they got the spikes on, so that when I line this head up where I want it, I could just push it down to mark where I want to drill. And then I've got the holes where I need to drill. So I'll drill them out and get all these other parts drilled as well. So that's for that to attach like that. Now I'm on with arms. So this is the bent arm, that there. So I've dowelled inside there on the elbow, and now dowelled that. Next thing I'm going to do is put a dowel into there, to there, into that shoulder. So we'll get that arm done. Then I'm going to drill for the hand, so that ball will be dowelled into there. And then this one's a simpler one because this arm's a straight one. So that's just having the cuff dowelled into that arm, dowelled into the shoulder, and the hand dowelled onto there. Like I said before, I could have turned these, but I just wanted to try this, see how it does. Started getting these together. I'm doing a bit at a time. So I've got them legs dowelled and put into there. These are the tops of the boots. With this one I've drilled all the way through and put a dowel going all the way through. That's going to go into them legs. So at the minute I'm just marking out these dowels. And all I do is use this centre finder for turning. I got this from Axminster Tools. So you just keep drawing the line like that, keep moving around to a few different spots. And then where they all cross, that's where your centre is. Or as near as you can to that. Slowly getting there. So I've made some fronts of his boots there, the toes to his boots, so they can be just glued on. Still got these arms to put on, but I'm also going to cut a nose. So this is out the offcut of gelatin that we used for the peak, and they were out of this offcut as well. I'll glue them in place there, and then we've just got the arms to fit, to dowel through into there, and we've got this mechanism to put the nail through and have it cut off and then super glue it in the ends. And I've also got this that I've made. It's got like a staff axe thing. So this is just dowel with it, a notch cut out of it to fit this plywood. I just shaped this plywood, stuck that in, and then just filled with wood the notch at the top. So that's going to go through this hand, through the hole in his hand, down into the base. So I'll probably be drilling a hole in the base as well, where this goes into. I've just put a little bit of super glue around there to hold it at the hand. So this is what we've got at the minute. So we've got that glued and doweled into there. Got the arms doweled on, so they go in the shoulders and then into there. Got the nose on. We put a little ball on the top of there. And the lever at the back sticks down, so you can lift that up to crack your nuts in there. And the beard's going to come down here and cover that hole up. And so we need to do a paint job, and hair's going to go on round here as well. So yeah, that's ready now for going inside for a paint job. Right, so I'm going to take him inside and I'll let him glue up overnight, and then tomorrow I'll start the paint job. So it's the next day and we're in this little workshop at the back of the house. So that's where I'm going to be painting it. So here it is. I've done just a first coat of white all over it, just as a base coat, and now I'm going to sand that down. Yeah, just taking off the rough, you know, if the paint has made the grain lift a bit, just to get it smooth again. Oh, you might notice that I've changed the base a bit. I chopped off a corner on the bandsaw there, and then rounded it off on the sander, on the belt sander, just to make it less boxy. So I've just been looking on my phone, because I've been looking at sort of colour schemes for other nutcrackers, and I found one that I liked that was on a cushion. So what I've done, I've just put letters on the colours that I want for each particular bit, and just drawn the bottom of a jacket like that, and the belt and the buckle. I think I'll paint the face pink first and then do the details over the top of that, because it's a light colour. I made a boo-boo. I haven't got any yellow, so I can't get exact flesh tone, so I've mixed white, red and blue, touch of blue. But I think this will be okay, because obviously it don't have to be realistic. So we've got that colour. So I think that'll do. I think what I'll do is do most of the colours and then bring you back when I start doing the details. I'm slowly getting there. So what I'm doing now at the minute is I'm just going to get the black right up to the edge of the green on his belt and in there. So just doing that black detail. Like I say, that's having gold around the top of the boots. I'll probably have to stick some more coats green on here. That's had a couple of coats, but there's still light bits. So yeah, gold round there. We need red up here, red sleeves, and gold on the tops of the ear, and a gold ball on the top of his hat. I haven't decided what colour to do the base yet. Right, we're on to the gold. Don't know how good this is going to cover, but I'll just have to keep doing loads and loads of layers. So I want to do gold around the top of the boot, gold on his buckle, gold on his shoulders, gold with the gold ball on the top of the hat. And we're getting there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish doing all the detail, and then I'll add the hair, and then I'll reveal it, do the grand reveal. I think that's the plan. So in a second, I'll show you what it turned out like. So here he is, my cracking nutcracker. So let me bring you in on him. So there you go. So he's got red hair. I decided to have white for the base, so like he stood in snow. And the mechanism, let me just show you. So that all works. So he can crack some nuts if he has to, but like I said, my wife don't want it for that. She just wants it for decoration. It took a while, but it's worth it, I think. I'll show you the back. So there's his red hair. Mechanism there. I'm really happy how he turned out. I think that looks pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, that'd be great. And if you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. It'd be great to have you follow along. And all there is to say is take care, and I'll see you next time in the workshop.